Hi, I'm Wendy Spreenberg. I'm with Yes, Your Exceptional Space, and we're here with Gary Pachucki of IBT Group at his property, The Terminal on Kostner in Chicago. Thanks for having us back.
Thanks for coming out.
You bet.
Beautiful day in Chicago.
Absolutely. But great. We wanted to do a follow-up from our interview back in October of 2021, and we want to know a little bit more about the space. How has it changed since about a year ago?
Well, a lot. And this project's been very organic. We've made a lot of progress over the last couple of years, and particularly over the last 12 months. We signed and moved in our first tenant, which is EeroQ, which is one of the leading quantum computing companies in the world. We finished our base work in Building A, and are starting demolition and all the other enclosure activities on Buildings B and C, which should be done in the next couple of months. And then we're starting to look at new tenants. We've got a couple of deals that we're starting to exchange LOIs on, and cautiously optimistic about the future.
Great. Well, a little bit about your tenant base here. What seems to be a bit of the profile of the tenants who are coming?
Almost all the tenants that we're seeing are, as we refer to them as high science tenants, chemistry labs, quantum computing. We're seeing several companies in that field. We're seeing a large company that's in the nanotechnology, high chemistry business, and that seems to be the primary direction we're going.
And why do you see that being the case?
Good question. So I think when we started this project over 4 years ago, we always had hoped that we could achieve this. We thought we had the right basis for it, and we thought we could create an argument for why this was a good alternative location. And it's looking as though it's all coming to pass, that people are understand the location and the advantages of being here versus being in Fulton Market, for example.
Yeah, or even the medical district, which traffic is really congested, and density factor now being a hot spot to be. Sometimes it's great to be a little bit away from that.
It's interesting. You and I were at an event last night, and there were a number of people that are involved in those higher density markets, and they are starting to see people rethink, is that a place that they actually want to live and work? They're not, the demand isn't 100% right now. People are starting to rethink some of that stuff, and sometimes, just to your point, it's nice to take a step away and see a neighborhood and things like that.
Yeah. So based on doing the project, what has either surprised or delighted you about the project?
Well, it's always good news when you get tenants, and we seem to be in the flow of traffic, and so that's making us very happy. I don't think it's not a huge surprise, because of course it's what we'd hoped for, and it seems to be playing out. And the true test will be over the next few months as we continue on that path, finishing the other two buildings, and then hopefully sign a couple more leases.
Excellent. Well, what do you think, based on all of this experience, is the biggest selling point to the terminal?
Well, I think there's a lot of things here. First of all, it's a campus, so it's unlike any of the other projects in the city, in that there's some pathways. We got some green space, large green space areas. People can walk between the buildings. We're in a neighborhood where there's actually very attractive housing stock literally across the street. We're also within a walking distance from emerging grade and elementary schools that are within 4 blocks. So these are all things that we're actually starting to hear from the tenants, that they understand that, and they're looking at that, and could they buy a house here, and could their kids go to schools here, and will this evolve? And I think that's exactly the path we'd hoped for.
Well, you planted a flag, so I think that things are going to be changing, hopefully, dramatically.
Hopefully.
But
everything's a process.
You bet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are there any future features that we don't see today that you're going to be adding?
I think as we flesh the project out, we'd like to see some more amenities here, and I think that we'd like to expand the footprint of the project if we can over the next few years, and so we're already starting to look at that, because I think as we start to plant a flag, and then you start to move the center of gravity for the high science, life science, and innovative office space, I think the demand will step up.
What kind of amenities do you want to incorporate?
I think right now we've got outside space. We got We're trying to get into more food trucks. We actually have a lot of restaurants on North Avenue, but they're fairly, the number is high, the scope is limited, and so we're trying to see if we can induce that. We're looking at having a fitness facility on site. But I think the thing that people really look for, you look in a lot of buildings, people have large fitness facilities, but typically nobody's in those facilities. Right? And as work habits change, people are staying less in their space. They're coming in, doing their job, and then leaving. So they're not, dawdling for 2 hours just to kill time in the health club. And so I think it's just trying to create an environment that's really attractive to people and do some social things so people can have a break during the week and make this a more attractive work environment.
Great. Do you see any effects of the hybrid schedule? Because your tenants are in a different industry focus. So has the hybrid schedule borne out here at the terminal?
That's another good question, because I think that's all in process, nation worldwide. I think it's probably less impactful. It's tough to do these jobs remotely. Not too many people have a reactor in their living room, and
True. Let's hope not.
So it's harder to do these jobs remotely, and I think the other thing that we're hearing from these scientists we're working with, and the collaboration is really the key as they start to work on these projects. It really takes multiple people working on the things simultaneously. So I think that they may have different hours, but you're going to see more engagement in the office and lab space.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Are there future projects beyond the terminal that you want to share with us?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're premature.
To be determined.
Yeah, we're looking at a couple of other things, but we're still in the really early stages here. But as I mentioned, I think that this is a footprint that can be expanded, and so we're working on that on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, it's a really exciting project, and if you haven't come to the terminal here in Chicago, you've got to check it out. Gary, please share a website that you'd like them to take a look at.
We're at the terminalchicago.com, and and we're actually going to participate in Chicago Open House in October, so that'll be an opportunity for people to come and see the facility.
Great.
And we're excited. We'd love to have you out.
And we'll come back so that we can
that'd be
catch
great.
up.
We'd be excited.
Thanks so much, Gary.
Thank you.